class really long, and I'm sorry about that. It ended up like 22, 23 minutes. I usually try to make them shorter than that, but going through all of these rules, it's, I don't know, pretty important to know the rules kind of through and through, but you're going to have to apply them to the math. I'll try to make one that's shorter, that just kind of goes through the rules pretty quickly, where I don't get long-winded and go through all the answers, but just kind of give you a brief synopsis. And then also on a slide previous to this, it has just the rules written out with the different things that you need to know. So looking at your math problems, your calculator is going to give you some very wonky answers, like something like this. You're going to have to be able to take those answers that your calculator gives you, and you're going to have to round it to a certain number of SigFigs that we're going to learn in another video. So when we're looking at this, we have to know the rules in order to know, do I have 3 SigFigs in my answer or not? So on this problem, it's asking you on all of them to round to 3 SigFigs. But maybe sometimes you're doing a math problem, you only need 1 SigFig, or maybe you need 8 SigFigs, or whatever it is. Again, we'll get into the hows and whys, but for right now, it's just all of the things that we're going to round on this slide is just going to be 3 SigFigs. So I'm going to switch over to my document camera, and we're actually going to write these out. So with these numbers, this is the slide just printed out. It says round the following numbers to contain 3 SigFigs. Well, the first thing that I need to remember is zeros at the beginning of a number never count. So this 0.0000, there are no SigFigs in any of those zeros yet. There's no SigFigs there. I need 3 SigFigs. So usually what I do is we read from left to right. So as we read from left to right, I'm going to start counting my SigFigs. So my first real number, the 2, the 5, the 6, those are my first 3 SigFigs. I'm going to use the 8 next door to round. Remember, you only look at the next door neighbor. I'm going to ignore the 7, the 4, the 5, because those are going to disappear anyways. The 8 makes a 6 go up to a 7. So my answer here is 0.000. There are no SigFigs there. 2, 5, 7 would be my answer for that one for 3 SigFigs. Now this one here, 34, I need 3 SigFigs in that answer. I only have 34. Well, remember, your calculator assumes that there's 0.000000 for infinity. They just get rid of the extra excess zeros. So if I put 34.0, I still have the number 34. It's still equivalent, but now I have 3 SigFigs. 0 is the end of the number count when there's a decimal place present. Now this one, again, we read from left to right. As we read from left to right, I have 7, 5, 4. The 8 next door makes that 4 go up to a 5. So I have 7, 5, 5. And some people stop there and they turn in that for an answer. Now let's just pretend that your grandma, I don't know, whoever, some adult is going to tell you, hey, when you graduate, I have this many dollars in a bank account, but you have to make honor roll. So you're like, wow, that's awesome. I'm going to make honor roll. So you go all through high school, and on graduation day, they write you a check for $755. You're like, wait a minute. You said that you were going to give me $7,548,135. Now you're writing me a check for $755? Why did I do all that hard work? You have to make the number about the same. To make the number about the same, we're going to fill in 1, 2, 3, 4 placeholder zeros. Those zeros at the end of the number do not count because there's no decimal place present, but they're showing the magnitude of that number. They're necessary to show how big that number actually is. So rounding this amount to this one, we had to use placeholder zeros. Now the last one down here, again, we read from left to right. So I need the 2, the 3, the 9. This 9 next door makes this go up to 240. And then I'm going to fill in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 placeholder zeros. But I've got an issue. That only has 2 SigFigs. If I put a decimal at the end of it, now I have 10 SigFigs. Oh no, what do I do? 95% of the time you're not going to have to do this. 98% of the time probably. However, sometimes you're going to get an answer from your calculator. And when you get that answer from your calculator, you're like, man, I can't do the right number of sig figs. I'm going to lose those points. What you actually do here is you put it in scientific notation. When you put this in a scientific notation, you're going to do your rounding like I did. Move your decimal place 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 times. 2.40 is 3 sig figs. Times 10 to the 9th power is still only 3 sig figs. You couldn't do anything with this when you do the rounding because you'd either have 2 or 10 sig figs. So in order to get the right number of sig figs here, you had to use scientific notation. Sometimes people like to always put their answers in scientific notation. I am completely fine with that. In fact, on your calculator, you can change the mode. If you change the mode on your calculator, it'll always give you your answer in scientific notation. Scientific notation is just the same number. So it's up to you how you want to do that, but sometimes you're going to get stuck and you're going to have to put your answer in scientific notation, so I just wanted to point that out. So I hope that helps kind of clarify where we're going with sig figs. In the next video, you're actually going to look at how to do the math problems. So I'm going to give you some simple math, and you're going to figure out how many sig figs you need to round to, and then you're going to do this with that. So I hope that you guys have a good day. If you have any questions, be sure that you email me, and I can get you answered anything that you need. Have a good day.